Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I had someone mention on a comment that protesting might be a good way to make our government do certain things. And I mean, such as you know, when you protest and then the police come out and, you know, spray water on you and beat on you and shoot you with bullets, rubber bullets and stuff like that. You show their brutality, and that's, you know, that would be a good way to show how the government is not good. Now, personally, the way I see it, I'm not into protesting. Now, like I say, I'm into reality. I'm not saying the protesting doesn't work. I'm just saying I try to look at things the way it really is. I don't really, when I like I say, when I see bad things happening, I look at it as a symptom. And it's the same like I do when I look at the body. Somebody says their arm hurts. Well, it's not their arm hurting, it's why is their arm hurting? Well, it's the same thing. If you're going to protest, you're protesting a certain thing that it's a symptom of a much bigger problem. So that's why I'm not into that kind of stuff. Now the people that are really effective and really know how to make protests work are communists and union people. They've learned to use protesting as an art. Now, I'm not saying that protesting doesn't always happen. I mean, it's not always a good thing. When a country is totally bad, then the people really do protest. I mean, there's a lot of really bad countries, but the thing is, if you notice, like the United States, they make sure everybody that's unemployed has food stamps and gets unemployment, and you know, I mean, their lives are still good. The reason they do that is when the majority of the people's lives are really bad, then they will protest. And the reason is, good people, good, morally strong people don't do protest most of the time. They don't. And the reason they don't is because they have responsibilities. They have responsibilities to their family. They have responsibilities to work. They don't have time to spend on all the time it takes for a good protest. That's why communists and unions do. They get paid to protest. I mean, look at the union people. When they go on strike, they still get paid. You know, I mean, they get paid to do this stuff. So they get paid not to work. You know what I mean? And the communists, they get paid. They take the communists, they take money. They get their money that they raise, and they use that to pay people to protest. And who takes money to protest? You know, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, good people have responsibilities. They can't go protest. You don't pay good people to go protest. They protest because they believe in something. It's not the money. And that's what I talk about on gold and silver. You know, you need to have this put back in case you lose your job, in case there's hard times. Now, those people might be protesting, but they have something to fall back on. And like I say, this is why the communist and union people use protest. And so if you really want to know how protests work, go to union people and communists, and they will let you know. Okay, now, to be effective, on changing the authorities, authorities like bureaucrats, elected officials, police. And military, this type of stuff. The way to, if you really want to change, make changes in their method of operations, I guess. Now, it won't stop corruption, but if there are things you can do to sway them to do different things, and what you need to do is to talk to their family members and their friends and family members, but family members are the best. You should know who your authorities are, your government authorities. You should know who they are. And if you do, then you should know their spouses. I mentioned when I was training SWAT teams, I trained for 14 years. I stopped training because they started wearing a mask. And when they started wearing a mask, you couldn't see who they were. Now, what happened, they used to use, when I was training SWAT teams, they were a special unit used to do special, let's see, how do you say it, dangerous work. And so these people were really special. They were the best of the best. And what they did was they would rescue. That's why I was into hostage rescue, was my specialty. Counterterrorism, specializing in hostage rescue. And so these people really dedicated in what they were doing at first. Now, as time went on, they started wearing a mask. And when they started wearing a mask, you couldn't tell who they were. In other words, before the mask, you could see who the snipers were. And you could see the people that are going in, the SWAT team members that are going in and doing stuff. And you notice, since they started wearing masks, well, yeah, now all the bad guys seem to die. In other words, we don't hear the other side of the story. Okay, before, when they didn't have the mask, the intent was to try to, well, for sure you rescue the hostages. The next thing was to try to get the bad guys alive. They don't do that anymore. That's not, like I say, they're more worried about liability. They don't want to hear the other side of the story. But the thing was, without the mask, they could do things and you wouldn't know which one did it. So they didn't take personal responsibility. I mean, they did. When they had no mask, they had to take personal responsibility. So when they took a life, you know who it was that took the life. And then what happens when a SWAT team, I'm going to use SWAT team because that's what I'm familiar with. When SWAT team people make a decision, and if it's a good decision, they get praise. If it's a bad decision, whoever's in charge of the SWAT team, well, you know, you're bad, you shouldn't have done that, you know, you should have taken orders before you made that decision, you know, did all that kind of stuff. And without the mask, everybody knew who this person was. So then in other words, and the reason I'm saying this is because it's a good example from where I live. One of the team people that I trained, there was a guy that he beat his wife. He hit his wife, and he was drunk. And his wife ran to the neighbor, and they called the police, they called the SWAT. And this guy's sitting in his house by himself. And the SWAT came in, and then they went in, and the guy had a knife, and they shot him. They killed him. And now, for one thing, I don't know if that's really a SWAT type of situation. There was no hostages. He was by himself. He was drunk. If it was me, personally, I would have waited till morning, knocked on the door, and then if he needed to be arrested, I would have arrested him. You know, I mean, if it was if this is something he does, if he's a violent type of person, well then, you know, I would wait till morning and then let him sleep it off and then get him in the morning instead of pushing it. Okay, so, but the thing is, they know who it was that went in, they know who it was that did it. Now what they should have done is talked to the SWAT team guy that did the killing, talked to his spouse, they see his spouse in the grocery store and say, you know, what's the story? Why would your husband shoot this guy? I mean, this guy, you know, he gets drunk every week, he gets drunk and he does this stuff. Does it mean he needs to be killed for doing that? You know, I mean, so, in other words, when you say it to the spouse, okay, when the SWAT team member did the wrong shooting, he got recommended. I mean, you shouldn't have done it, you shouldn't have done it, and that was it. But every time somebody sees his spouse in the grocery store and they say something to her, she's going to come home and she's going to get in his ass every time. I mean, it doesn't stop. I mean, it could be 10 years later and you say something to her at the store, she's going to go home and get right back after him again. So that's why you want to say things to the family members. Now, you know, you don't get nasty and say, you know, why you're mean, and that's, no. It doesn't work like that. You be civil. You just ask a simple question. What would make him think he could take a life like that? And, but also, at the same time, if this was, like I say, an act of terror where the guy really was threatening lives and doing bad things and he was killed, then you need to praise that spouse and let them know how, you know, boy, your husband did really good. We appreciate his service to our local community. You know, so it works both ways. And I use the same type of tactics when I talk about the three-man militia. Okay, what you do is you form your three-man militia in whatever you want to put it in. You know, first aid, communications, radiation, chemicals, just anything. It doesn't make any difference. But you form this, and then you go in and you introduce yourself to the local sheriff. And you tell the local sheriff, you are representing, you're here and you're representing a militia that's in the community, local community, and we specialize in chemicals. So if you have a truck that wrecks out here and there's a chemical leak, you can just give me a call. We'll be happy to come out there and take a look and let you know if it's something. I know you're going to have the state professional chemical people will be here, but it's going to take them time. You can call me. I will make sure we were there as, you know, really fast. It won't be hours. We can be there quick, within minutes, and we can let you know exactly what it is you're up against. And okay, this way you've introduced yourself to the sheriff. Now, and you can do the same thing with the police chief. Now, you don't want to go to the mayor talking about militias and stuff like that, but anytime you can, you might meet the mayor or something, you know, in a, they have their either public meetings or a function or something like that. Get to know them and praise them. Give them your gratitude for the good work that they're doing so they know who you are. If the only time they see you is when you're there to bitch, well, then they don't give a damn who the hell you are. But when you show support and you like I say, you thank them for the good work that they've been doing, and then that opens their mind. Now, when instead of doing the protest, like we talked about at the beginning, you don't need to do the protest. It'll be more effective when you can go to that individual, either himself directly, or like I say, with his spouse, and tell the spouse that, boy, you know, the mayor's doing a really good job. Real proud of him. You know, he could have done taken some physical steps, and maybe people would have got hurt. But instead of that, they chose to do the right thing. And that is appreciated by the majority of the population. And when you say stuff like that, they're more open to what you have to say. They won't be so backed up in a corner where they have to show their authority. I mean, let's bring out the police. What do they call those guys with the shields and the helmets? And they go bang, bang, bang. You know, riot control people. Yeah, you know, you don't need all those. That's nothing. Let the communist and union people deal with them. You can use your wits and get things done. I'll tell you, many decisions have been made by a small, simple statement that is given to the one that's making that decision. And that little statement makes so much sense that it will change the whole course of the direction of what's going on. Think about it. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.